In this problem, we have two maps, one that's provided a contour topographical map, and then we have to build a topographical profile from this contoured topographical map. So you see these contour lines that show from the top view a particular landscape. And we notice that there's a river here, and there's those just lower points that it says 700 to 800 to 900, and you see how the teeth of the walls kind of point towards upstream. That's really important on those contour lines. It kind of tells you which way the flow of the stream or river starts. It starts from this side. It goes here because these teeth, we'll say, point towards the upstream. So that's one thing we notice here on this contour map, is that we have a lower elevation, we have this river that's cutting through this canyon, and we have a hilltop which has hache marks, which means there's some cone here that we're rising up to from 900. It goes up higher, but then at some point it starts to go lower, like we have I guess the hole of an old volcano that you can walk down into if you're standing right here, because we have hache marks, which means you're going down in elevation, having once gone up. So all that said, what they're asking us to do is to create what's called a topographical profile of this map. And what we're doing then is we're looking really what's along A here, this A to A prime. So let's do that. Let's start off though, we need to designate all these contour lines and what elevation they are. This will help us when we take that elevation along this line and map it onto this topographical profile below. So just to start off, 700 to 800, we need to know what each of these increments or these contour lines represents. It looks like it's 20, because if I go 20, 40, 60, 80, that puts me up to 800. So I'm going to just go ahead and put those in, 720, 740. I'm going to skip this one just knowing what it is. This will be 780. That's 800. This one would then be 820, 840, 860, 880. And that would get us to 900, the next one. So it looks like we get going up. We're going to start climbing up a really steep cliff side of this sunken volcano here that has the cone inside that we're going to jump into. So now I'm just going to go ahead and say them so tight. I'm just going to say them and know what height I'm at right here. This highest point, because this is lower, this is going down. So there's going to be the crest of the mountain here is really going to be in this zone. That's where we crest, because we're kind of in between the hache marks, hache, and the highest point. So it'd be 920, 940, 960, 980. So I'm going to remember that 980 is kind of the highest point. That'll help with my topographical profile. And then I go back to 980. This is the hache mark that matches this highest point. So it's really cresting maybe just a little bit above 980. And then it comes back to 980 and 960, and then we're into this water, this inside the cone of the volcano. Now I'm going to be climbing out of this, so I'm coming back over the 980 crest, and then I'm going down to the 900. This would still be 900. They're just showing it twice. This we're assuming would be, and it could be up or it could be down. We're going to go ahead and assume that's the 880. And this is the 860. Now, if someone decided to go ahead and go back up here to go to 920 and 940, I think there'd be argument for that. All right, now that we've looked at our contour map, let's go to the topographical profile. So the first point I want to realize is that this one, 940, comes back and is really close to A. So these marks, we're just going to go every two. I can say that's 720, 40, 60, and 80. So really, where I'm at, when I'm here, right on this same, so you just drop down. You can use a piece of paper or a ruler. I can say at point A, where I haven't left at all to go on this hike, I'm right at 740. So I'm going to put just a little bit above. I have my starting spot because I'm just above the contour line that's for 740. But I'm going down. So as soon as I get to this point, I'm at my 720. So I'm going to come on down to 720. That 720, I'm going to put, I know I'm going to be right here somewhere. Let me see where that is. Okay, I'm down here. So I'm right there. So my first line goes from that point there going down. And I still go a little bit more down, and then I come right back to the 720. So I'm going to come down a little bit to go to the river. Then I kind of come up and hit this point, which is still 720. But now I'm going to rise to 740. Now, again, I don't want you to make straight lines but down, but you're just going to make your mark or put your pen here and say, I'm going to pick it up and say where my 720 is, or I'm 740, because I'm right there and back to 740. I'm right on it. So I'm going to go ahead and go to that point. And now I'm starting to see what would be the canyon valley along this creek bed where I would see the creek. And now we're going to do a little bit of a steeper slope here, because now I'm at 740, but I go to 780. Pretty kind of bang, bang. I'm going to rise pretty quick. So I'm going to go ahead and hold my pen there, match my line up, come down, find 780, which is right here. And I know then I climb a pretty steep hill as I get out of the canyon to get to 780. And then 800 is a little bit less of a slope. So I think you can kind of see what we're doing here. Then I would come down. I'm going to be right at 800. So this now is a little less sloped because it takes longer for us to go from 780 to 800. Now I'm going to 820 and 840 and 860. And this is going to get even more gradual. This is a much longer walk I have to go through before I rise another 20 feet. So you just do this all the way along. I'm going to start going pretty fast. I'm going to, I think, 820. That's 820 mark. I went up. If you want to make your increments, it's your 20, 40, 60, 80. And you just knew this because you had to divide between 800 and 900 and equally. So I'm again right there. So I'm going to draw that straight line. And you can see, oh, that's a little bit less sloped as I got to the 820. So 840, doing the same thing. 840 is going to be about right here. A little bit more of a slope. 860. You see how we do this, I guess, now that you have the idea. I'm going to have to sometimes look. I'm going to have to adjust because I have to go up a little bit. So my 860 was a little bit more steep. Or 860. All right, my 860 is a little bit more steep. And then we're going to go to 880, which is going to be right here. So let's see if I can get kind of close. 880, be right here. And then we're at 900. Kind of going up. Now you can kind of see the mountain as you're going up. Now it's going to be really steep. So what I'm going to do is go right up to my, what we said, the highest point, 980. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to set this point. 980 is all the way up here. I know that because I can cut this also like I did here on these increments. So that's 980 right there. So we have gone up the mountain all the way to 980, and we could really argue that you're going to have a little bit to come back to this hache mark right here. You're going to have a little bit maybe more of a crest in this yellow area. So I did that, and now I'm going to go from 980 to 960. So I'm going to go down to 960. I'm just going to put those in so I can see it. So 80, that's 60, our 40, and our 20. So these are our marks. I need to make sure, yeah, I made it down to my 960. And then we're going to go just into this little cavity. So it kind of goes maybe not all the way down. It doesn't have another hache mark, so I don't want to go all the way down into that 940. I'm just going to kind of come back to this same point, same height of 960. Yeah, so about right here. And then I kind of go to 980, back to the height, and then I'm going to go up again just to kind of come over the top and get back to 980 at that point. That's another 980. This is 980, 980, 980, 980, because we have this rim of this cone that's left over after the volcano. So now I'm going to go ahead and say, well, that's my 980 mark. I'm right there. I'm going to go all the way down to my 920 pretty quickly. So let's get that mark. This is 920. This is just up from. So we're gonna have this now. And you can see now you can have a profile, and I'm almost done. Since I'm at 920, I'm gonna go to 900. And then we're gonna say we had that kind of it just stayed at 900, and you can go either way. You can go up to 920, 940, and that might be an argument for that. In fact, let's go ahead and do that because it's kind of arguing, I think, that we have these two level, and then this is probably going back up. So we're going to go ahead and just take it as going to 920 and 940. But this is a smaller decision compared to these very clear indications of what you need to do with your topographical profile. So we're almost done. Let's go ahead and take that to be 920. So I'm right here. And then it doesn't get to 940. Looks like we come off the map, but we're rising. So that'd be the end of our topographical profile we made from the contour map that we had, using the contour lines as a guide and some sort of straight edge to come down and match those heights. As you're walking along the straight line, this is what we'd have, that we'd see along that line if we walked it. Walking the line. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.